Thank you for joining us today at BladingOnline.com. I'm Charlotte Smith, and I have with me a farm manager, Miss Leticia Barber from Duplin County. Thank you for joining us, Miss Barber.
Thank you for having us.
Grateful that you're willing and able to speak with us and not under any gag order, but you are a farmer or a farm manager currently. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how long have you worked on a farm?
I've worked on the same farm for 24 years.
Okay. And have you worked with Smithfield or Murphy Brown, LLC?
Yes. When I started, it was Murphy Brown's, and then when it was bought out, it turned into Smithfield.
So now it's currently called Smithfield Hog Productions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
And have you been keeping up with the lawsuits involving Smithfield and Murphy Brown?
Yes, I have.
What are your feelings and take on the lawsuits?
I don't think they're really portraying hog farmers as fairly. I think we are really hardworking. I have worked on this farm for 24 years. I know every aspect of it from when I started to manager. I didn't come in as a manager. And we do a lot of good in the community. And and I think it's just one aspect that's being shown is not giving us a fair view of everything that goes on a hog farm.
Right. So what I've seen in the courtroom, I know that the lawsuits are against Smithfield Hog Production doing business as Murphy Brown Farms. So, but what I'm seeing really is the farmers, the farm managers, the hog producers are really the ones on trial and how they operate these farms. That's really what the plaintiffs are complaining about. According to their testimony, they're complaining about the smell and pests like flies and buzzards coming around. So do you have any problems with that at your farm?
I don't. Before I became manager, my husband used to manage this farm, and we have never had a complaint about the smell or the odor that has been addressed to us. Mm-hmm. We've never received any kind of interaction as far as that we were being a nuisance or that there was a problem with the way we were running the farm.
Mm-hmm. So how's the relationship been since you've been there for 24 years? How has the relationship been between your neighbors there around the farm before the lawsuits? How was the relationship?
The close neighbors around me, they've never had an issue with the farm. The closest person that has a problem with us is within a mile of us. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly say I've never met that person.
Mm-hmm. And they've never addressed their complaints with you over the 24 years you've worked
never.
there?
Mm-hmm. I've never heard anything, and I'm pretty in depth into all the aspects of this business. Mm-hmm. on my particular farm, and I've never heard anything.
Mm-hmm. So, but do you guys talk? Have over the past 24 years? I know sometimes country neighbors, they live so far away, they never really even speak. So, was that the case, or did you guys have a relationship prior to the lawsuits?
No, up until the lawsuit was filed, I didn't even know their names. Mm. I mean, you go by them, and you wave.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, that's being polite, but as far that's really all the interaction we've ever had.
Yeah.
Up until this.
Right. So now, how are they acting? Do they still wave? Do they try to converse with you or anything?
No. It's become very tense, very unpleasant around here. You don't want to say anything for the fact that it might offend somebody. And I think that's pretty much on both sides. Unless it's somebody that you really know very well, you just kind of just avoid each other.
Right.
And that's really sad that it's come to that.
Mm-hmm. So what we've heard is that there really weren't any complaints. There were some back in the 90s, and then there really weren't any complaints about the hog farms until the lawyers in the cases started going door to door. Did you hear that as well?
Yes, that's when it seems to have all gotten blown to where we are now. They really hadn't heard, not particularly on the farm. I don't know if there was interaction with the main company as far as, if there was a problem. But with the individual farmer, and I think that's probably what shocks us the most, is there wasn't any interaction with the farmer. Mm-hmm. As far as, we have a problem with this. I think most of that was directed to the main company. And now that it's gotten to where it's at, it that's what makes it look like it's neighbor against neighbor, but it's not. It's just because, for the most part, until it came to this where the lawyers got involved, as far as me personally, I just assumed everything was okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was a problem.
So what, if you could talk with the plaintiffs right now, what would you say to them?
I would like to, and it'll probably come off as being one-sided, but I would really like for them to take into account, by the time that the lawyers get the amount of money that they're supposed to get, it's not really going to leave as much money as they were promised, but you're still going to have to live in this community. You're still going to have the same neighbors, and that the lawsuits are drawing such a wedge in between it. I don't know if we'll ever get back to where we were.
Yeah. So do you think the better solution would be for roundtable discussions to have happened prior to the lawsuits? Do you know if there were any roundtable discussions or any conversations between the neighbors and the farmers?
I think it would have helped. I don't think from here forward it would do much good. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's pretty much picked a side. Mm-hmm. But I think we could have come to a resolution if it was brought to the farmers' attention. Because, as for me, I try to do everything I can to make sure that I'm not disrupting anybody else in their way of life. Mm-hmm. And my grandpa always raised me, if you won't live in it, you can't have somebody else live in it.
Right.
If you won't buy it, don't sell it. And that's pretty much the way that I've always lived. So I just don't know if we can get back there.
Okay. So, of course, the lawsuits are already underway. There's already been 3 that have awarded the plaintiffs millions of dollars. And we know that these lawsuits are going to continue. So, having known that, I've heard that some hog farmers are not getting their contracts renewed with Smithfield and are losing their hogs. Can you explain how that happens? Do you know any details about that?
I do. I don't think it's so much. I really can't answer that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how are the farmers feeling? Can you feel, yourself included, how has this affected you? Is there a lot of stress and not knowing, or are you all pretty confident in what the outcome will be and you're not really worried?
I think for the most part, we're disappointed. I guess that would be the word, because this, and really, I believe it has become a money issue more than anything. Mm-hmm. It's not just affecting Smithfield.
Right.
It's affecting the owner of the farm. It's affecting me. I know no other job. I've been on a hog farm all my life. I have employees, and we worry if it comes to that, what happens to all those people? The ripple effect will be so great, and that's mostly what concerns us, because it's just not Smithfield. It's not just the owner. It's every person that works there and their family. And where are they going? What are they going to continue to do if there's no hogs here?
Right.
That's a lot of people out of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's mostly the concern. How can we stop it before it becomes a problem for everybody down the line?
Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time and the opportunity to get to talk with you about this very important issue facing the whole of North Carolina and the effect that it could have on our economy and business. Thank you for joining us. Find out more at bladenonline.com.